Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dr. MMR's Commerce Digi Academy. Myself, Dr. M. Mallareddy, Assistant Professor of Commerce from Government Degree College, Agraharam, Rajanna Sircilla District. So today I am going to talk about classification of accounts and rules of debit credit. So it is one of the important topics from Financial Accounting 1. This topic is meant for BCom first year, first semester students. So this is a very crucial topic and important topic for all the common students because the recording of business transactions largely depends upon the classification of accounts and rules of debit credit. Therefore, it is of very important for all the common students for lifelong period. So therefore, it is important one. Now coming to the agenda of presentation. My presentation will cover various aspects that includes account. What do you mean by account? The next classification of accounts followed by rules of debit and credit. Next I will discuss journal and its format, and towards ending I will discuss analysis of business transactions. So this is my agenda of presentation. Let us move on to the first topic, that is account. What do you mean by account? An account is a summary of the record of all the transactions relating to a person, asset, expense or gain. So in a simple way we can say that account is a summary statement that will record the debit aspects and credit aspects of a person, an asset, expense or gain. So all the debit aspects and credit aspects are recorded in a statement by dividing into debit side and credit side. That statement is called as account. Every account is divided into equal parts, the left hand side and right hand side. The left hand side of the account is called as debit side. So in order to indicate that is debit side, we will record DR towards extreme left of the account. Over and above the account extreme left, we will record DR. DR indicates that it is debit side. On the right hand side of the account is known as credit side. In order to indicate that is credit side, we will record CR towards extreme right over and above the account. So we will record CR. CR indicates that it is credit side. Now each and every account is divided into equal parts. Each part will have 4 important columns. The first column is date. In order to record the date of the transaction, the date column is given. In order to describe the transaction, there is a column, that is particulars column. Then next we will have journal folio number. Journal folio number means here while recording in the account, the transactions are transferred from journal to ledger. Therefore, this transaction has been forwarded from the journal. From which page of the journal it is forwarded, that page number will be recorded in the journal folio. JF means journal folio. Journal means journal is the first book where transactions are recorded. Folio means page number. So journal page number will be recorded in the JF column. And then next, each and every transaction will have amount, debit amount and credit amount. So in order to record the amount, we will have amount column. So in the similar way, 4 columns are also recorded on the credit side of the account. So here account means ఖాతా. దీన్ని ఖాతా అంటాం. ఖాతా అంటే ఒక వ్యక్తికి సంబంధించిన, ఆస్తులకు సంబంధించిన, ఖర్చులకు సంబంధించిన, ఆదాయాలకు సంబంధించిన వ్యవహారాలలోని డెబిట్ అంశాలను, క్రెడిట్ అంశాలను ప్రత్యేకంగా ఒక చోట రాసి చూపే ఒక నివేదికను, ఒక పట్టికను ఖాతా అని అంటారు. ఇక్కడ ఖాతాని 2 విభాగాలుగా విభజించవచ్చు. ఎడంవైపు విభాగాన్ని డెబిట్ వైపు అని, కుడివైపు విభాగాన్ని క్రెడిట్ వైపు అని ఇక్కడ చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. మరి ఈ ఖాతా యొక్క నమూనాను ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్లో మనం చూడవచ్చు. ఖాతాను 2 సమాన భాగాలుగా విభజించవచ్చు. ఇది టీ ఆకారంలో కనపడుతుంది మనకు. టీ ఆకారంలో దీనికి ఎడంవైపు విభాగం ఉంటుంది, కుడివైపు విభాగం ఉంటుంది. ఎడంవైపు విభాగాన్ని డెబిట్ వైపు అని, కుడివైపు విభాగాన్ని క్రెడిట్ వైపు అని మనం చెప్పవచ్చు. ఎడంవైపు విభాగాన్ని 4 కాలమ్స్గా విభజించవచ్చు. మొదటి కాలంలో అంటే మొదటి వరుసలో తేదీని రాస్తారు, డేట్ని రాస్తారు. రెండవ వరుసలో వివరాలు అంటే వ్యాపార వ్యవహారానికి సంబంధించిన వివరాలు రాయడానికి. మూడవ వరుసలో చిట్టా పుట సంఖ్యను నమోదు చేయడానికి ఒక వరుసను తీసుకోవడం జరుగుతుంది. ఇక చివరి వరుసలో ఆ వ్యవహారానికి సంబంధించిన మొత్తం రూపాయలను రాయడానికి మొత్తం రూపాయల కాలంని కూడా తీసుకోవడం జరుగుతుంది. ఈ విధంగా డెబిట్ సైడ్ 4 వరుసలు, అదేవిధంగా క్రెడిట్ సైడ్ కూడా అదే రకమైన వరుసల్ని తీసుకోవడం జరుగుతుంది. తేదీ, వివరాలు, చిట్టాపుట సంఖ్య, మొత్తం రూపాయలు. ఈ విధంగా అకౌంటును 2 సమాన భాగాలుగా విభజించవచ్చు. ఈ అకౌంట్లో డెబిట్ వైపుకు సంబంధించిన అంశాలన్నీ డెబిట్ వైపు నమోదు చేస్తారు, క్రెడిట్ వైపుకు సంబంధించిన అంశాలన్నింటినీ క్రెడిట్ వైపు నమోదు చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. సో దీన్నే అకౌంట్ ఖాతా అని అంటారు. ఇది టీ ఆకారంలో ఒక పట్టిక మాదిరిగా మనకు కనపడుతూ ఉంది. లెట్ us మూవ్ ఆన్ టు ది classification of accounts. So this is very important. Classification of accounts. So all the accounts can be classified into 2 broad categories, such as personal accounts and the other one is impersonal accounts. The name itself is indicating that the accounts which are related to persons are known as personal accounts. The accounts which are not related to persons other than the persons, they are called as impersonal accounts. So impersonal accounts again classified into 2 categories. They are real accounts and nominal accounts. So in general we can say that there are 3 types of accounts. One is personal accounts, the second one is real accounts, the third one is nominal accounts. So what do you mean by personal accounts, and what do you mean by real accounts, and what do you mean by nominal accounts? Now let us discuss one by one. Coming to personal accounts. Personal accounts are those accounts which are related to the persons or other business concerns with whom our business concern deals with. So every day the business concern will deal with so many business operations with some other persons and other concerns. So to whom with the business concern will deal, that person account will be recorded in the books of accounts. Therefore the accounts which are prepared in the name of persons and other business concerns are called as personal accounts. Here personal accounts again can be classified into 3 subcategories. These are natural personal accounts, and the second subcategory is artificial personal accounts. The third subcategory is representative personal accounts. So these are the 3 subcategories of personal accounts. If we understand these subcategories, then we can understand the personal accounts in a broader way. The first one is natural personal accounts. The accounts which are opened or which are prepared in the business in the books of accounts with the name of naturally born persons, then those accounts are called as natural personal accounts. For example, Mahesh, who is born naturally, Mahesh account, Suresh account, and on the name of all the human beings, then those accounts are called as natural personal accounts. Best example is Mahesh account, Suresh account, and all the human beings accounts are called as natural personal accounts. Then coming to artificial personal accounts. Artificial person is a person that is created by an act or by a law. So if we create an account in the name of a company which is created by law, then such type of personal account is called as artificial personal accounts. For example, State Bank of India account. It is not a person, but it is created by an act. Therefore that is treated as artificial person. So if we open an account on the name of SBI, then that is treated as artificial personal account. So here we can understand that the accounts which are opened in the names of business concerns or companies, then such accounts are treated as artificial personal account. This is also one of the subcategory of personal account. Best example is State Bank of India account, Reliance company account, Tata company account. So any business concern account is treated as artificial personal accounts. So the third subcategory is representative personal accounts. Here the representative personal accounts will represent large number of people to whom the business owes money or from whom the business will receive money. That money is not yet received, that benefit is not yet transferred to them, but this single account will represent many people, but we cannot identify any person's name in this account, but that is a representative personal account. Best example is outstanding salaries. So in the business concern, the business has paid 10 months salary and the remaining 2 months the salary has not yet paid. So therefore the salary must be paid to the large number of workers or employees working in the organization, but we cannot record all those names, all those personal names in the books of accounts. In order to represent all those persons who have to receive the salary or wage in future period, so in order to represent them, only single account is opened, that is outstanding salaries account. So outstanding salaries account looks like a nominal account, but it is not a nominal account, it is a personal account, because as part of outstanding salaries, some amount is to be paid to the employees or workers working in the organization. So this is a representative personal accounts. Best example, outstanding salaries account, prepaid expense account, accrued incomes account, incomes received in advance accounts. All these accounts are related to the representative personal account. But students will confuse that. Whenever they identify salaries, then they will say that it is a nominal account, but it is not a nominal account, it is a representative personal account, that is one subcategory of personal accounts. So all these three categories will include in personal accounts. So natural personal accounts, artificial personal accounts and representative personal accounts. All these three will be included in personal accounts. Coming to the real accounts. The accounts which are related to the properties or assets of the business concern are known as real accounts. So since real accounts deal with only assets of the business concern, therefore sometimes these real accounts are also called as assets accounts. So real accounts denote that assets account. So real accounts always record the assets accounts of the business concern. Therefore these are called as assets account. Then let us try to know little bit of types of assets. In the previous video also we have discussed about the types of assets. Here assets can be classified into two broad categories, that is fixed assets and the other one is current assets. Again fixed assets can be classified into two categories, tangible assets and intangible assets. Tangible assets are those assets which can be seen, just like land and buildings, machinery, furniture, computer, motor vehicles. So these are the examples of tangible assets which can be seen, which can be touched. Whereas intangible assets which cannot be seen, which cannot be touched, but they are considered as assets. Asset, what kind of assets? Fixed assets. So these fixed intangible assets are goodwill, patents, copyrights, trademarks, and computer software is also considered as intangible asset. So these are the fixed assets. And current assets, cash. Current assets are those assets whose value change within an accounting period. Those assets are called as current assets. Example is cash, bank balance, debtors, bills receivable, goods, stock is also considered as current assets, bills receivable. So these are the various examples of current assets. So real accounts deal with all types of assets of the organization. The next, nominal accounts. So far we have discussed personal accounts and real accounts. Then the next important and third type of accounts are nominal accounts. What do you mean by nominal accounts? The accounts which deal with the expenses, losses, incomes and gains are known as nominal accounts. Why these accounts are called as nominal? Since these accounts are not related to a person and these accounts are not related to the assets, therefore these accounts are considered as nominal accounts. So whenever we talk about nominal accounts, we should remember that expenses and losses one category and incomes and gains other category. So if any account is opened on the name of expense or loss or income or gain, then we can call it as nominal account. Here, what are the expenses and losses? Here a few examples are given here, that is salaries, wages, rent paid, commission paid, stationery and bad debts. So there is a very big long list of expenses are there. We will learn in the upcoming lessons, upcoming videos. So incomes and gains. So then what are the incomes and gains? The earnings of the business concern during the academic year are considered as incomes and gains. Here interest received, rent received, dividend received, discount received and commission received. So these are the earnings of the business concern as part of the business. Then these are considered as incomes and gains. So these are all nominal accounts. Now so far we have discussed the classification of accounts. Accounts are broadly two categories: personal accounts, impersonal. Impersonal accounts are again classified into two categories: real accounts and nominal accounts. And in general we can say that there are three types of accounts. One is personal accounts, real account and nominal accounts. Having discussed about the classification of accounts, it is very important now to discuss about the rules of debit and credit. For each kind of account there are certain rules of debit and credit. In each category of account, how to record a aspect on debit side, which aspect must be credited while recording the business transactions, will tell us these rules of debit credit. So these rules of debit credit are different from account to account. So we have already discussed about three types of accounts: personal accounts, real accounts, nominal accounts. Then what is the rule for personal account? Which person account should be debited? Which person account should be credited? It depends upon the rule. So when we identify that in a business transaction a person account involves, then what kind of person account should be debited and what kind of person account should be credited will be explained by the rule. Here the rule is given here: debit the receiver, credit the giver. When you identify the transaction, if any person account involves in the transaction, you identify that whether that person is a receiver, whether that person is a giver. If that person is a receiver, then that personal account should be debited. If the person is a giver, then that personal account should be credited. So this is the rule of debit credit of personal accounts. So debit the receiver, credit the giver. This is related to personal accounts. Coming to real accounts. Real accounts are related to assets accounts. So when a business concern purchases an asset, then asset will come into the business. Then what will go outside? If the business concern pays the money immediately, then cash will go outside. Or if it postpones the amount, then the person who has supplied that asset will become creditor to the business concern. So real accounts deal with assets. So whenever asset comes inside, that should be debited. What the rule says: debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Whenever we purchase an asset that comes in, that asset account should be debited. So for purchasing of that asset, we will pay cash. When we pay the cash will go out. So what goes out should be credited. Therefore, the cash account should be credited. In this way, we can analyze the business transaction and we can divide it divide it into debit and credit aspect, and the same can be recorded in the books. So the rule of the real accounts is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. The next type of accounts is nominal accounts. Nominal accounts are related to expenses, losses, one category, incomes and gains, another category. Here the rule says debit the expenses and losses, credit incomes and gains. Whenever you find an item, an aspect is an expense, then that should be debited. So for that expense, whatever the amount is paid in the form of cash, that should be credited. So when you identify a transaction or an aspect of the transaction as expense or loss, that should be debited. If you identify one aspect of the transaction as income or gain, that should be credited. So this slide tells you the rules of debit and credit. Personal accounts rule is debit the receiver, credit the giver. Real accounts rule is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. And the nominal accounts rule is debit expenses and losses, credit the incomes and gains. So this is a very important slide. Now let us now discuss about the journal. So normally all the business transactions are recorded in a book, separate book. That book is called as journal. The word journal is derived from the French word jour, which means a day. So the word journal is derived from the French word jour. Jour means a day. Therefore journal is called as a day book. Why it is called as day book? Every day various transactions take place in every business. As and when a transaction takes place in the business, that is immediately recorded in a book. That book is called as journal. Every day the transactions are recorded in this book. Therefore it is called as daily record. So that daily record book is called as journal. Journal means a day book or a daily record of the business transactions. The book in which all the transactions are first recorded in a chronological order is known as journal. So in this journal, the transactions are recorded according to date in a systematic manner for the first time. So that book is called as journal. Since all the transactions are recorded for the first time in this book is called as book of prime entry, book of original entry, book of first entry. So all the transactions are for the first time recorded only in this book. Therefore it is called as book of prime entry or book of original entry. This process of recording the business transactions in journal is called as journalizing. Journalizing means the transactions are recorded in a specific manner in the journal. So that process is called as journalizing. Journal entry. Journal in journal the transactions are recorded in a specific formats in a chronological order. That specific manner in a chronological order is known as journal entry. Since these entries are recorded in the book of journal, therefore they are called as journal entries. Here journal means తెలుగులో ఏమంటారంటే చిట్టా అని పిలుస్తారు దీన్ని. చిట్టా, ఈ చిట్టా అనే పదం జర్నల్ అనే ఇంగ్లీష్ పదం నుంచి వచ్చింది. ఈ జర్నల్ అనే పదం జార్ అనే ఫ్రెంచ్ పదం నుంచి ఉద్భవించడం జరిగింది. దీని యొక్క అర్థం ఏంటంటే రోజువారీ పుస్తకము, ఎ డే, రోజువారీ పుస్తకంగా దీన్ని చెప్పవచ్చు. సో జర్నల్నే రోజువారీ పుస్తకము, రోజువారీ రిజిస్టర్గా కూడా దీన్ని పిలవచ్చు. వ్యాపార వ్యవహారాలను మొట్టమొదటిసారిగా ఏ పుస్తకంలోనైతే నమోదు చేస్తారో ఆ పుస్తకాన్ని చిట్టా అని పిలుస్తారు. మరి వ్యాపార వ్యవహారాలని మొట్టమొదటిసారిగా ఈ పుస్తకంలో నమోదు చేయడం వల్ల దీన్ని తొలిపద్దు పుస్తకంగా, ప్రధాన పుస్తకంగా దీన్ని పేర్కొనడం జరుగుతుంది. తొలిపద్దు పుస్తకంగా దీన్ని పిలుస్తారు. ఈ వ్యాపార వ్యవహారాలను అవి సంభవించిన తర్వాత వాటిని ఈ జర్నల్లో అంటే చిట్టాలో నమోదు చేయ ప్రక్రియను జర్నలైజింగ్ అంటారు. జర్నలైజింగ్ మీన్స్ చిట్టా పద్దులను నమోదు చేయడాన్ని జర్నలైజింగ్గా మనం పిలవచ్చు. అయితే ఈ చిట్టాల వ్యాపార వ్యవహారాలను తేదీల వారీగా ఒక నిర్దిష్ట పద్ధతిలో అంటే డెబిట్ అంశంగా క్రెడిట్ అంశంగా తేదీల వారీగా ఒక నిర్దిష్ట పద్ధతిలో రాసే వాటిని పద్దులు అంటారు. ఈ పద్దులను జర్నల్ అంటే చిట్టాలో నమోదు చేయడం వల్ల వాటిని చిట్టా పద్దులుగా మనం పిలవచ్చు. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ అ బ్రీఫ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ ఇన్ తెలుగు. Now let us discuss format of journal. The journal format looks like this. It has 5 columns. First one is date column. The next one is particulars column. The next column is ledger folio. That is page number of the ledger. The next one debit amount column and credit amounts column. So here in the date column, firstly we will record the date of year of the transaction, that is 2020. The next month, July, the date is first one. Then here in the journal entry, the first debit aspect will be recorded, that is cash account debtor, and the next credit aspect will be recorded, that will begin with to capital account. So debit aspect amount is recorded in the debit column on par with the debit aspect, and the credit amount will be recorded in the credit column on par with the credit aspect. And every journal entry is described with a little explanation, brief explanation, that is called as narration, that begins with being. Here the cash account debtor to capital account tells us that being capital brought into business, that is capital brought into the business. So brief description will be given below the journal entry to understand that particular journal entry. So this is all about the format of journal. And what are the steps involved while journalizing the transaction? While recording the business transaction in the book of journal, we need to follow 4 steps. Under first step, we should identify the aspects involved in the business transaction. Here the example transaction is given here, that is on July 1st 2020 machinery purchased for rupees 1 lakh. Here machinery purchased for rupees 1 lakh. 2 aspects are there. One is machinery purchased, that is machinery, that is asset, one aspect. The another one is payment made in the form of cash, that is 1 lakh rupees. So these are the 2 aspects. Firstly, under first step we will identify the aspects involved in the business transaction. The next we will ascertain the nature of accounts. After identifying the aspects to which account it is related, that we will identify. So that is ascertain the nature of accounts involved. Here machinery is the asset account that comes into real accounts nature. So therefore that is asset. The cash paid for the purchase of machinery is also real account nature. So both aspects are coming into real account nature. Therefore the nature of the accounts is decided here under second stage. And the third step, once the nature of the account is decided, then what aspect should be debited and which aspect should be credited should be decided here. The machinery is since it is related to real account and the machinery is coming inside, according to real accounts rules, what comes in should be debited. Therefore machinery is coming inside, that should be debited. The cash is going out, that should be credited. So both are belong to real accounts, real account nature. Then how to journalize this transaction? The transaction can be recorded into the journal. And the final fourth step is record the transaction in the journal in a specified manner by dividing into debit aspect and credit aspect. The machinery purchased for rupees 1 lakh on 2020 July 1st is recorded like this. So here in the date column, firstly we will record year, the next month, the next we will record date. So here machinery account is debited, therefore the debit aspect should be recorded first in the journal entry, that is machinery account debtor, that should be pronunciated as debtor. And then next we should record credit aspect. The credit aspect in the journal entry will begin with to cash account. For every word the account tagline should be added, to cash account, that is the credit aspect. and a brief description of the transaction is given here under the journal entry, that is being machinery purchased for cash. So we can understand that the machinery was purchased for cash on July 1st 2020. So in that way we can understand. In the columns in the ledger folio, on which page this journal entry is recorded in the particular account will be recorded in the ledger folio. Then in the debit column, debit amount will be recorded. In the credit amounts column, credit amount of the transaction will be recorded. So at any point of time, total amount of debit must be equal to total amount of credit. So this is the way of journalizing the transactions in the books of accounts, that is journal. Thank you very much for patiently watching my video. Thank you. Like it, if at all possible, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. I will prepare many more videos from commerce subjects in future period. Keep watching my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.